The Cleveland Browns thought they had control, that their locker room drama was contained, their quarterback situation under wraps. But one moment shattered that illusion. And now, everyone inside the organization is realizing just how fragile that control really was. Reports claim Shedeur Sanders finally hit his breaking point. After weeks of quiet frustration, subtle glances, and whispered tension, he erupted. And when he did, the entire Browns facility went silent. This wasn't just another heated exchange between player and coach. This was an earthquake that exposed everything Cleveland had been hiding. It all started during what should have been a routine practice. Dillon Gabriel once again under center, once again unraveling. 3 interceptions against the scout team defense. The same mistakes repeated. Coaches standing on the sideline pretending it wasn't happening. But Shedeur had seen enough. He'd been patient. He'd stayed composed. But that day, something inside him snapped. Witnesses say he walked straight toward head coach Kevin Stefanski. No hesitation, no fear. Surrounded by assistants, coordinators, position coaches, everyone froze. And then, Shedeur spoke. His voice wasn't shouting. It was sharp, controlled, but it cut through the air like a blade. Enough is enough, coach. How long are you going to protect him? Everyone sees it. Everyone knows. And just like that, the room stopped breathing. What followed wasn't noise, it was silence. The kind of silence that tells you the truth has just been spoken out loud. Because this wasn't about one bad practice. This was about weeks of favoritism. About a head coach protecting a quarterback who'd been falling apart while the better player watched from the sidelines. Shedeur didn't just call out a teammate, he exposed the entire system. And in that moment, Cleveland's carefully constructed image cracked wide open. For weeks, insiders whispered about it. They'd seen Gabriel getting chance after chance, no matter how bad it got. They'd seen Shedeur outperform him in limited reps, calm in the pocket, precise with his reads, sharper every single snap. And still, nothing changed. Everyone knew something wasn't right. But no one had the guts to say it. Until now. People close to the team say the air in that practice field was electric. No one spoke, no one moved. Assistant coaches exchanged looks that said everything: shock, agreement, uncomfortable truth. Because deep down, they knew Shedeur wasn't wrong. They'd watched Gabriel's confidence collapse week after week, the mechanics breaking down, the body language screaming defeat. Every coach had seen it, but Stefanski refused to acknowledge it, protecting him like a lost cause. And then, in one moment, Shedeur ripped the mask off the entire operation. Reports say Stefanski didn't say a word. He just turned, grabbed his play sheet, and walked straight off the field. Didn't talk to the assistants, didn't address the players, just left. That walk said everything. Embarrassment, anger, maybe even realization that his authority had just been destroyed in front of his entire team. And while he walked away, the locker room was already shifting. Veteran players reportedly came up to Shedeur later, quietly telling him, "You're right. We're with you." The one defensive captain even told reporters off record, "You can't keep rewarding failure. It's over." That's when it became clear. This wasn't just a quarterback controversy. This was a full-blown coaching credibility collapse. When a player calls out the head coach publicly, and the team sides with the player, that's the moment leadership dies. Stefanski had staked his entire reputation on protecting Gabriel. He thought loyalty would buy him respect. Instead, it detonated his authority. Let's not forget how bad Gabriel's been. Back-to-back losses, repeated interceptions, panic in the pocket. Even in practice, it's all falling apart. Witnesses described him throwing a pick, slamming his helmet, muttering to himself while teammates avoided eye contact. His body language said everything. This wasn't frustration, it was defeat. The kind you can't coach out. And on the other side stood Shedeur Sanders, calm, focused, precise. Every time he touched the field, it was different. The ball placement, the reads, the energy. Players noticed, coaches noticed, everyone noticed. But he still wasn't given the chance. That's why this confrontation wasn't about ego. It was about truth. Shedeur wasn't fighting for himself. He was fighting against a system sabotaging itself. And that's what made this explosion so dangerous. Because when the player telling the truth finally speaks, everyone around him starts listening. According to sources inside the building, ownership was alerted within hours. Jimmy Haslam was briefed directly about what went down, and his reaction? Not good for Stefanski. One insider said, "It's becoming impossible to defend him. The locker room's gone." Because now Stefanski's trapped. Every decision he makes from this point on only digs the hole deeper. If he benches Gabriel, he confirms everything Shedeur said was true, admitting his failure, exposing his own favoritism, surrendering authority in front of his entire team. But if he stays stubborn and keeps Gabriel starting, he loses the locker room completely. Either way, it's over. His credibility shattered, his leadership gone. Coaches around the league are already whispering what comes next. You don't come back from this kind of public fracture. This is what they call a coaching death spiral. When your players stop believing, your assistants stop defending, and even ownership stops pretending. Everything Stefanski built is collapsing in real time. And it's not just about him. The ripple effect runs through every level of the Browns organization. Assistant coaches are quietly questioning his judgment. Coordinators are tweaking play calls just to hide Gabriel's mistakes. The general manager's stuck in the middle, publicly backing his coach while privately knowing the locker room has already moved on. It's chaos disguised as structure, a slow-motion implosion of trust. Meanwhile, Shedeur's role keeps evolving. What started as frustration has become leadership. Players are looking to him, not Stefanski. His message, "Enough is enough," has turned into the rallying cry of an entire team. Because when your quarterback stands up to dysfunction, it changes everything. Suddenly, the guy the organization tried to sideline becomes the voice of accountability. That's the kind of presence you can't fake. Reports claim even in team meetings, players' body language has shifted. Eyes on Shedeur, not the coach. The respect hierarchy has flipped. Cleveland's locker room isn't waiting for Stefanski's permission anymore. They're waiting for Shedeur's lead. And the head coach feels it. Every day, every glance, every conversation. It's slipping away. The tension's visible. The smile's forced. Stefanski knows his job depends on a quarterback who's already lost the trust of his team. But the most dangerous part, he still believes he can fix it. He's psychologically invested, defending a decision that's killing his credibility. That's how power collapses. From denial. Shedeur's patience is gone. He's done waiting, done watching this team implode from the inside out. His confrontation wasn't about drama. It was a declaration, a line in the sand. He's saying, if we're serious about winning, this ends now. And judging by the reaction, everyone inside that building heard him loud and clear. Because when your veterans start siding with a rookie, when your locker room starts ignoring your coach, when ownership starts asking uncomfortable questions, that's the end game. The formal title might still say Head Coach Kevin Stefanski, but the players have already chosen their leader. The balance of power has shifted. What remains now is the aftermath. How long until the Browns make it official? How long until ownership stops pretending this is repairable? The fans already know. The players definitely know. And deep down, Stefanski knows too. The truth is, the Browns aren't dealing with a quarterback controversy anymore. They're facing a cultural reset. The old guard's gone. The silence has been broken. The future just walked straight up to the head coach and said, enough. And that moment, right there, is the one Cleveland will look back on for years. Because this wasn't just about Shedeur Sanders demanding playing time. This was about a franchise finally confronting its own reflection. A team that's been chasing relevance for decades, now forced to admit it's been protecting the wrong people for too long. You can feel the shift. The fans feel it. The analysts feel it. The players feel it every time Shedeur steps on the field. The Browns might still be trying to contain the story, but it's already out. The locker room has spoken. The city has chosen its quarterback. And now the only question left is, how long before the organization catches up? Because whether Stefanski likes it or not, that practice confrontation wasn't the end of something. It was the beginning. The beginning of a power struggle that will define the Browns' future. A moment that ripped the mask off an entire franchise and made one thing crystal clear. Leadership isn't given, it's taken. And on that day, in front of everyone, Shedeur Sanders took it. The silence that followed wasn't fear, it was recognition. Every player, every coach, every person in that building understood what had just happened. The old era had ended. A new one had just begun. And if the Browns want any chance to survive the storm that's coming, they'll have to face the truth. The locker room doesn't belong to Kevin Stefanski anymore. It belongs to Shedeur Sanders.